You were not meant to be a slave to the grind. You were not meant to trade your life force for money. You can escape gravity. You can unlock your life. You got this. Let's go.
Hey, and welcome to Unlock Your Life. Appreciate you guys being here today. I got an awesome show. I think it's really going to help you to unlock your life. And I want to start off with a story. I was 19 years old and I had my first job, maybe I was 18, but my first job working construction. And in the heat of the summer, South Carolina, we are digging footings, shovel in hand, digging footings. Footing is a foundation for a house. It's like a trench about 2 feet wide, 1 to 2 feet deep. There's roots and, with a shovel, right? No machines. It's miserable. And then we're laying rebar in these trenches. And the boss was so cheap that, one, he didn't rent a tractor to dig these footings, and two, he didn't even have a rebar bender. We were sticking pieces of rebar in the hitch of the truck and then throwing our weight against them to try and bend them at a 90-degree angle. So just back-breaking, brutal work, and hard work is the key to success, right? I mean, that's what we're told. You grow up hearing, work hard, get good grades, and you'll be successful. Work hard and you're going to make it. And I would say that if you're going to go for average, or I want to just be able to pay my bills and my mortgage and put a roof over my head and feed my kids, sure, I think that probably is all that you need. But to get wealthy, to unlock your life, to live life on your terms, do what you want, where you want, when you want, with who you want, you need a little bit more than just hard work. Because if that was the only ingredient that we needed, there'd be a lot more really, really wealthy people out there, right? Because a lot of people work hard. A lot. A lot of people don't, but a lot of people do. I mean, think about this. The person working at Walmart, they're getting up early. The people working the night shift in these factories, the guys that are out there paving the roads and framing houses and shingling the houses, the landscapers in the heat, cutting grass 10 hours a day. They're working hard, right? Are they making significant wealth? Probably not. Probably not. I know that I was not. I ran a construction company for many, many years, and I started off, doing everything myself. Like, I would frame the houses, I would put on the shingles, I would do the siding, the windows, the flooring, the trim. And I was making decent money. I say decent money, barely six figures, and enough to live well and have a good life, but I wasn't really getting ahead. I wasn't able to have extra money laying around. I wasn't making investments. I wasn't pushing my life forward in a significant fashion like I am now. And I looked at it and I saw hard work is an ingredient, just like flour is an ingredient in bread. But if you take flour and mix it with water, you don't have anything but a muck, right? You don't get bread from that. There are other ingredients. And just like bread has to have flour, I feel success has to have hard work. It is a vital component. Without hard work and diligence, we aren't going to get where we want to go. But like I said, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably already are diligent. You probably already do work hard. That probably is not your problem. If that is your problem, then this might not be the podcast for you. But let's just assume that hard work is not your problem. I bought a boat, switching subjects. I bought a boat down in Savannah. We had to take this boat up to Charleston via the Intercoastal Waterway. So Charleston is in South Carolina, about 2 hours by car north of Savannah, about 8 hours by boat north of Savannah. And we get into the boat and we go in the channel, and the channel is narrow. And there are certain areas where the channel widens out and there's river branches, and it's really confusing. Sometimes you're going against the current, sometimes you're going with the current. The tide is also changing while you're going. Sometimes you're going east, west, sometimes you're even going south because of the winding river and channels. And we had a GPS, okay? And this GPS had an autopilot. And the autopilot was constantly moving the boat a little bit left, a little bit right, or a little bit port, a little bit starboard if you're a sailor. And when you took the autopilot off, it shot out a line direction where the boat was going to head if you didn't touch the steering wheel. And so it was always wrong, right? You always had to be constantly correcting the boat. And the boat was also going pretty slowly. The speed, we were only going 3 to 4 knots because it was shallow. We didn't want to run out of fuel. And we also had to stay on course. And it was a little bit of a treacherous day. So all that to say is the captain was a lot more focused on the direction of the boat than the speed. Now, I took a captain with me because it's a fairly large boat and I don't really know that much about boating. And so I hired this professional to come with me, and the direction was a lot more important to him than the speed. He always wanted to be checking the bearings, checking where we're going, and he had me drive sometimes or captain the boat. And that was what I needed to be focused on, not necessarily the speed. And so many of us, we focus only on speed. And I'm going to compare speed to hard work, right? We got to get this done. We got to get it done fast. We got to get the next job. We got to get it done. We got to get the paid. And then we got to get the next job. And it's just this kind of ongoing rat race, hamster wheel to get to the next thing. And we're not stopping and focusing on where are we going, right? Because before we even left the dock, we knew we're going to Charleston, right? We're heading to Charleston. And if we had been just driving like, okay, we got to go, we don't want to run out of time, and just hit the gas. Well, what if we're going the wrong way down the Intercoastal Waterway? What if we're ending up in Florida, instead of South Carolina? Like, we don't want that. Then it's going to take us twice as long to get back, and we're probably going to run out of fuel. So it was super important. Direction in our life is much more important than speed. So hard work is important, but it's not even the most important thing. It's not even the most important component. And we focus so much on, we just got to take more action. We just got to work harder. Okay. So what are the right things to focus on? I want to tell you another story. A story about a guy named Blair. Blair runs a company called Allaire Homes. Allaire is franchise for franchising custom construction companies. And they approached me a couple years back, 4 or 5 years back, when I was working really, really hard in my construction company. And they showed me a better way, a better processes, a better systems, how to scale, how to use project managers, how to do these pre-planning things so that the jobs went smoothly and they stayed on budget and you could do more than a couple jobs at a time without getting completely overwhelmed. And it was pretty cool. And this guy was very young, and there was over 100 franchises, and he had accomplished a whole lot. So I'm thinking, man, this guy must be like the hardest worker in the world and just killing it every day. And I'm at a conference with him, and I'm talking to him, and I ask him that, like, you must be crazy busy. Like, how busy are you? How hard do you work? Like, you getting up at 3 a.m. or what? And he smiled, and he was like, you know what? I'm not as busy as you would think. I just pick a couple things every day or every month to work on, and I just focus on those things. And then once I've accomplished or achieved those things, I try to push them off of my plate. And once I've pushed those off of my plate, I am then free to focus on the next thing that I need to be doing. And I said, well, what if you have more than a couple things that you need to be focusing on? Like, I feel like I have 10 or 15 or 20 things I need to be focusing on. And he said, you just don't. You don't have that many things that you need to focus on. Distill that down. And then I asked him, well, do you feel guilty pushing this stuff off of your plate? And he kind of laughed and said, no, because I know that if I'm pushing that off my plate, then I'm able to be creative and focus on the next opportunity, the next iteration of where we're going to take the company. And that made a lot of sense. And now, this is probably 4 or 5 years later, he's not even the CEO of the company anymore. He's still involved with the company. He's on the board of directors and the chairman, but he has put in place another CEO, and he takes his own advice where he is constantly pushing those responsibilities off of his plate to people that are better suited for that are going to do it better, even the CEO position of the company, so that he can take on his next opportunity, whatever that may be. So we know that working hard is not the key. We know that there's got to be another component to it. And I believe it's working on the right things. So hard work is not the key to success, but working hard on the right things is. Okay, I know. You're thinking, all right, well, how do you figure that out? What are the right things? What should I be working hard on? Well, there are two things that I'm going to talk to you about. First is picking the right opportunity. Number one is picking the right opportunity. So for me, I've picked a couple opportunities, real estate, crypto, Facebook, and those are opportunities that I have worked really, really, really hard on. And the reason I have is because they have scale. They have exponential returns. They can become somewhat passive. And then they can also be doubled or tripled or quadrupled or exponentially scaled without having to work exponentially harder. What do I mean by that? So imagine you are building a custom home. Well, you know what? Let's say building a car. You're building a car. It's a handmade, hand-built car. You're putting it together. You're the mechanic, and somebody orders a car, and you're like, man, it's going to cost you $500,000 because I got to put it all together myself. They're like, sure, sounds good. You're excited. You're building on the car, and halfway through, somebody else is like, hey, I want a car too. You're like, okay, well, as soon as I'm done with this one, then I can build you a car. They're like, okay, well, I'll wait. But then somebody else comes the next week, and they want a car too. And then somebody else comes, and they want a car. Now you have 4 or 5 cars lined up, and you really aren't that excited because you have to work 5 times as hard, right? You just got to build these cars back to back to back to back to get them out the door. And if you don't do it fast enough, they're going to get mad, and they're going to leave, and they're not going to wait. And that's not exponential scale. Versus you have an assembly line for the car, and somebody wants 1,000 cars, and then somebody wants 2,000 cars, and somebody wants 3,000 cars. Is it harder to add capacity to that assembly line? Yes, it is hard to some degree. You've got to add more workers. You got to add more raw materials. But is it 1,000 times as hard to build 1,000 more cars? No, absolutely not. And those are the kind of opportunities that I'm talking about getting into. So with real estate, I started with single family homes and trailers and managing them myself. And every single one I bought, it was more work for me. It was more of a pain, right? Every single one I bought, I had to now manage it, collect the rent, and not too much more money. And I looked at my goal. I looked at my destination where I wanted to be, which was over 1,000 units. And it just seemed like not a good plan, not a good path. And I talked to some experts, and they said, you want to get into multifamily real estate, some sort of commercial real estate. You don't want to be trying to buy 1,000 single family homes or 1,000 trailers. Because if I bought a 100-unit apartment complex, I could just do it one time, one loan, one group of investors, one insurance policy, not too many roofs, one parking lot, one management company, versus buying 100 different rental homes. Imagine the difficulty level versus buying one 100-unit apartment complex. And so I saw that kind of scale there. And I also saw that I could use management companies to continue to scale. Like if I bought a 100-unit complex, man, I could buy another one, and I could get a different management company or the same management company. Maybe they'd have to scale their personnel, but I wouldn't necessarily have to scale my personnel, right? Just because I bought another complex doesn't mean I need a whole nother employee and another team. Like my financial bookkeeper could just take on one more report a month, and it was a little bit harder, but it wasn't 100 times more difficult because I had bought another thing. The same thing that I saw with that is I saw with Facebook, right? In the beginning, it was hard to build that group, right? It was really hard to get to 1,000 people and 5,000 people, but now we've got 20-something thousand people in there, and it's growing every day. Like, 10 or 15 more people at least join every day, and it continues to grow and build on itself, right? And when I make a post, I'm now reaching 22,000 people versus 2,000 people. And it's not any harder, right? It's the same amount of content, and yet I'm reaching a bigger audience. And I'm able to, monetize that through deal flow, connections with investors. I have a paid mentoring group. I sell a course on how to buy multifamily. And so all those things with a bigger audience generate more revenue. I was talking to a guy who owns a YouTube channel, and in the beginning, he only had 1,000 followers or 2,000 followers, and he was making, I think, like $300 or $400 a month, creating all this content, working very, very hard for very little money. And yet now he's got 100,000 followers on his channel or subscribers to his channel, and he's making, over 6 figures a year from this YouTube channel, and he's making the same amount of content, right? It's not exponentially harder, but he's making exponentially more money. And then you look at, there are opportunities out there with people who have big YouTube channels that are making millions a month, and they're still only making, maybe a video or two a week, right? They're not working necessarily harder because they're making a lot more money. It's just they have a bigger, scalable, more exponential audience. I see it in cryptocurrencies where you can get in on coins as they're starting out and they can have exponential gains. I was discouraged about crypto for a long time because I felt like Bitcoin had already had these exponential gains, and it has. For Bitcoin to go up another 1,000x is going to be really difficult versus like a newer coin. But I saw that business had a lot of opportunity in it if I could work hard at mastering it, which moves me to the second point. So first point, we're talking about what are the right things, picking the right opportunity. First point, you got to pick the right opportunity. For me, I picked real estate, cryptocurrency, and Facebook, like social media marketing. And that goes for any of the channels. I mean, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. You can generate massive income off of those platforms because they're so scalable. But secondly is investing in yourself. Investing in yourself. So we're all going to be working hard, right? And so as we're working hard, we got to invest in ourselves. And it starts typically with time. So with real estate, I started looking for deals, looking at deals, analyzing deals, watching YouTube University. I didn't have a whole lot of money, and so I was investing a lot of time. Eventually, I bought an internet course for $1,000, learned a little bit more, bought a 12 unit. Then I invested in another conference that was about $5,000, plus travel. That was a little bit more. Then I invested in a mastermind that was $35,000 a year, learned a little bit more there, and continued to invest my time and money into real estate. But now, I've knowledged up. I know a whole lot about real estate. I've been teaching it and doing it for 7 years now. And so it's a field that I am very valuable in. And I see a lot of people entering the real estate world and they put up their hand. They want to own real estate. They want to own multifamily. They want to be a real estate millionaire. And yet they bring nothing to the table. Can you bring cash to the deal? No. Can you raise capital from investors? No. Do you know how to underwrite deals? No. Do you know how to find deals? No. What are you bringing? You just want a deal, but you're not valuable. You're not an MVP on the team. And so to get involved in those deals, you've got to invest in yourself. Learn the underwriting, learn how to raise capital, build your network with loan sponsors and build your network with investors. And then people are going to want you on your team. You're going to get pieces of the pie. You're going to close deals because you invested in yourself first. And I saw that time and time again. Every time I invested in myself via instruction, knowledge, or paying for these courses or paying for education or getting myself in the right rooms with different connectors, it paid me back exponentially, right? And so now I'm working on investing some of my time into learning about crypto. Like I started studying it back in January, and there was a consultant that was in one of my masterminds that he was paid to come and speak with us, and he recommended a couple of coins. And so I put some money into those coins. Then I started paying attention more because now I was invested into it and started watching more videos and learning more. Then I ended up paying the consultant to consult with me directly so that I could have a direct line to this guy and continuing to learn more. And now I'm about a year into it and I know a lot more than I did. I have a lot left to learn, but at the same time, I am putting the time and effort and working hard at this because I see that it is one of the right opportunities. I am picking the right opportunity. It has scale. It has exponential returns. It's passive. I'm going to be able to work really, really hard one time, and it's going to pay me for probably the rest of my life if I make certain right picks. And it's already returned quite handsomely for me with the little bit of money and effort and time that I have invested in this. So investing in yourself is crucial. And this is where that hard work comes in, guys. I want you to work hard. I don't want you to mishear me that I'm not saying that hard work isn't important or hard work isn't what you need to do, but it is only one component, right? And you need to pick that right opportunity. So what do you get? Let's say you've picked the right opportunity, you've invested in yourself, you're making it happen, you're working hard, and you're doing the right things. What are you going to get? Well, what's going to happen to you is the flywheel effect, the compound effect. You are going to be able to unchain and unlock your life. Guys, I want to tell you a little story about what happened to me the last couple weeks over Thanksgiving. So Thursday, we hosted Thanksgiving. I spent all day Thursday cooking, cleaning, hanging out with the family. It was an awesome day. It was fun. We hosted. Friday, we had a family event out at my dad's farm. Did a skeet shoot, chili cook-off, about 50, 60 people there, had a blast, pretty much an all-day event. Saturday, my cousin calls me, hey, Jennings, I got an extra ticket to the Clemson game. Do you want to go? It's the Clemson, South Carolina rivalry game. I was able to go. I hopped in the car, jumped up there, hadn't been to a game in a couple years, and it was really, really fun. Had a blast. Sunday, my wife rents a party bus. I get 28 people in this party bus, my family, my cousins. We go to James Allen County Park. There's this huge Christmas light display all throughout the park, Santa's Workshop, Village, rock climbing walls, carousel. It was awesome. All the kids had a blast. Memories were made. Great time. Monday's my birthday, so we had a steak dinner, grilling out at the house. Awesome time. And my wife and I, the week before, I had said, hey, after Thanksgiving, let's go to Disney World. So I'm going to Disney World tomorrow. It's a surprise, so don't tell my kids. But we're going to surprise the kids and take them to Disney World, go down there for 2 or 3 days, and have a blast. And I'm telling you this because this is what can happen when you work really, really hard on the right things. You don't have to work all that hard later on. You're able to have time, freedom, ability to invest in those relationships and further concentrate and laser focus on the things that you want to be focused on. So in my prior businesses, or when you're focusing on just working hard and not necessarily the right things, it's a never-ending cycle. You kill, you eat, you kill, you eat, you go get the next job, you finish the job, you get paid, you go find the next job. You've got to get off of that and start buying assets and start building and investing in yourself, building and investing in the right opportunities, seeking those things out, and working hard, but on the right things. So that's all I have for you today, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, drop me a 5-star review. That would be awesome. A bunch of you are already doing that, and it really means a lot to me. Reach out to me, Facebook Messenger, shoot me a message. I'll respond. And yeah, if you're interested, join my Facebook group. I've got My First Million in Multifamily and My First Million in Cryptocurrency. Love to meet up with you there on Facebook. All right, guys, have a great week. Peace.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.